Let's come to order. Welcome to our special call meeting on the building program. We're glad to have Commissioner Carol Cook here, so thank you. Did you bring us some more money, Commissioner? No more. Okay. Well, we're happy with what we got, so. Okay. Harry, you want to take it away?
Yeah, everyone, I guess everyone knows we're here talking about the Stewart Creek High School and also the addition at Eagleville. And if you would, look at page 2 of the packet you've been given. First, let me, before I go into any details here, let me confirm with Mr. Jeff Reed that all the bids were in order.
They should be in order this time.
Okay, thank you, sir. That said, if you look at page 2, building program budget, we had $49,976,500 that was pledged to us by the county commission. Of course, we worked hard to get under that $49,976,500, so we could build Stewart Creek and also as much as possible with respect to needed addition. So that said, Stewart Creek High School, the bid came in at cheapest bid was $39,606,000, and that was from Biskin. Additional cost to build a school will be the architect fee at $1,344,352. Furniture, fixtures, equipment will be $4,143,750. Various inspections will be $250,000, and we estimate utilities another million. So the total cost to build Stewart's Creek will be $46,324,102. And we can stop there and discuss that, or we move on to whatever.
Any questions on the high school bid?
I might add that that is significantly lower than the original bid. It was bid 21, the base bid of our last time, $41,923,000. Now, a big reason that it's cheaper this time was the value engineering. We cut several things that we knew that we could do without at Stewart's Creek we'd like to have, and they certainly would have added to the school. But,
Could you go over what those?
yeah, they're
what those-
actually
Are they on
reflected
here?
at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
There were some sidewalks that had been cut. If you have any question on any of those, courtyard irrigation, I think it speaks for itself. There was considerable landscaping involved, and we cut back on some of the landscaping. Changed the surface, track service to a different type. HVAC telemetry. That had something to do with thermostats throughout the building, didn't it, Gary?
It's the points where we monitor, we cut some of those points out.
Okay. H2O heaters, there was some, my understanding, you explained to me, Mr. Clark.
There were, we had heaters located in several different areas, and we got rid of some of those.
But we'll still have a warm school everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
right?
There's still plenty of hot water, we ran some
Okay.
brief ones.
Lighting controls, we still have sensors there, but there's some other lighting controls that we were able to extract without jeopardizing the project. Slab rebar, kind of wanted to branch out and do some different stuff with concrete, but what we have will be exactly what we used in the past, will be equally as sturdy, right? Okay. Cafeteria lines, explain that, we'll still have 8 serving lines, is that right?
We do, and, we had originally an original drawing spec out some solid surfaces for those, and, we went back to the stainless steel. And that is actually that $324,000 deduct that was in alternate number 6, so it's reflected down there in the savings.
And there was some lighting in the cafeteria that really kind of cafe type of lighting. We took that out too, and we just on it. And CTE area, there was some wiring modifications, I believe.
Yes, sir, we, had a overdone in lighting in some of those areas. We took some of the lighting out, there was a lot of carpet in offices and different areas. For instance, in the shop area for the
retrospect, a student walking in for the first time won't even miss these changes, with the possible exception of the sidewalk. And that does get us to $39,606, which again, is crucial because that does allow us to do the Eagleville addition as well. So what we're going to do, so we estimate that those savings were $1.75 million. The difference, $567,000 is the fact that the bids came in that much cheaper, which is a good thing. So that said, how about if we deal with Stewart's Creek first, Dr. Barnes? And I recommend that you award the bid for Stewart's Creek High School construction to the low bidder, Robert S. Biskin Company, for $39,930,000 with the alternate 6, a deduct of $324, for a total of $39,606,000.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Donald?
Let me make sure that I'm understanding what, I'm looking on page 3. Base bid amount. You just went over those, right?
Yes.
Now, all of this is in the 46 million, right?
All of the stuff above, all of the stuff down to the $39,930 is in. I guess that's your question.
I think he's asking about alternate
All the alternate.
1 through 5. That,
Well, the first two are the stadiums, obviously, they're not, no. What about 3, 4, and 5? Obviously, 6 is a deduct. That's not there. Speak to the parking space in the 2 parking lots, Gary.
Which page are you on?
It's on
I'm-
page
I'm
3.
on This
The
page,
alternate
number
bids,
3.
3, 4, and 5.
The parking lots are still in there. We had priced those as an alternate to see if we needed. We have a lot of parking, actually more is required by code, so we wanted to keep it if we could, so we had it priced as an alternate, as a deduct. We did not take that deduct, so it's still in the contract.
So it's still in, and so the parking lots, parking spaces, and the athletic building stadiums at Laverne and Smyrna,
So the stadiums are not in.
they're not anywhere in this.
okay. Other questions or comments? Grant?
Would this allow us to, of course, I know the answer to it, but I want to make sure, this does allow us to, with the funds we have, to go ahead pretty much with the Eagleville project intact. I mean, we'll get to
If
that.
we're given the 49.9,
6?
the 49.97 million, it does allow us, but it's still got to go before the county commission to approve.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, based on what we have now, looks like we have allowances.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Other discussion? I don't want to rush you. This is a 39 million. No, it's not. It's a, yeah. 6. Well, this part of it is, yeah, $39 million vote. Donald?
I just
Okay. Did-
said, we're really voting on the 46 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I read the, well, we're just doing, recommended motion number 1, right?
Right.
Maybe the question would be if the bid were awarded to a different contractor, would all those architectural fees and all those other things would all be
Sure.
the same?
Absolutely.
Ready to vote? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. Next,
Obviously, Eagleville is a two-phase project. I think if Eagleville had their druthers, they'd rather had phase one done before phase two. Phase one included the auditorium and 12 classrooms. Phase two has 10 classrooms and some other work accompanied to that. But ultimately, the difference in the two is about, if you factor in furniture and equipment and design and all, it's anywhere from $1.5 to $2 million more. And simply put, we don't have that money. And I don't think it would be real smart on our part to go down there and say, hey, we prefer phase one over phase two, and say, can you find $2 more million? Because I'm pretty sure the answer to that not only be no, but I think we seriously do some stepping on some folks' toes. So that said, we do have enough to do phase two. I've talked to Mr. Tollett about it. He's excited about having the classrooms. It gives them relief with respect to their portables, and it gets us started. And I think the board will continue to be committed to, as soon as possible, to completing phase one. Now, phase two, construction bid, Biscuit is also, would also get this bid at $2,976,000. Architect fees will be $141,360. Fixtures, furniture, and equipment, $262,000. Inspections, $100,000, and utilities, $50,000. That totals up to be $3,529,360, which would leave us $103,038 from the original available money, which again, we know that was $49,976,000. Now, if you follow me and go to the next line, we also had a design phase for Eagleville at $175,465 that we've got to pay, which would leave us a negative balance of $72,427. And we've got some money left over in various projects that we can cover that $72,000. So that wouldn't have to be borrowed money. And Mr. Sandbig would come back to the board with a recommended funding source for that in the near future. So I'm going to recommend that we award the bid for phase two to the Eagleville School Addition to the low bidder, Robert S. Biscuit Company, for $2,976,000 contingent upon approval of the project by the Rutherford County Commission. And I'm also going to recommend that we request that the Rutherford County Commission approve funding for phase two of the Eagleville School Addition for a budget of $3,529,360 as presented.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Both of those facilities are in my district, so I feel compelled to be the first one to vote. So I don't mean to be hogging tonight, guys. So.
The design portion for phase one of Eagleville, have we already incurred that expense? We just need to pay it?
What's the status on it, Jeff?
We have funding for most of it. We will not spend the entire amount of phase one, but we have spent some of that, and we'll get that amount refined.
Other discussion? Grant?
It's a little inconsistent, phase one and two, we're taking two rather than one, but it does not have a conflict with one being done second, right? In other words, it won't have to go back and tear out to.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And that's the way we bid them too, separate phases, knowing that it ultimately would be driven on the amount of money available.
Donald?
What type of timetable do you see on that, Mr. Gill?
Didn't we have them starting in January and opening up next year?
Yes.
So they start this winter, and then they would open by the start of next school year. With respect to Stewart's Creek, it would open, part of the contract is that they've got to finish it by the start of 2013.
And phase one, of course, that's dependent on
Sure.
financing, but what, in your mind, what type of timetable?
I mean, I'd like to pursue it again next year, you know, and go back and ask for it, because they are continuing to grow, and they will continue to use portables. I guess some of it will be driven by the state of the economy and how the local revenue is, but I think that's our next building project.
That, I remember Mr. Blair talking when this first came up, back, several months ago, that the auditorium was a key ingredient of what they were looking for, and I just wondered what type of timetable you were looking at.
I did read, I guess as all of us did in the paper today, that I know there's a project that's needed on the jail and also Joby Jackson Parkway, which I have no doubt has to be, is a must and it's needed, but I certainly hope that we can see this Eagle project through. You know, those people are, you know, they're expecting it, the students deserve it, you know, we're committed to it, we've done everything we could to get within that $50 million, so, you know, we got one commissioner here, I'm gonna encourage him to make sure that, you know, support us on that.
Aaron?
The footprint of Phase 2 is going to be in this place where a number of portables are now. Is there a plan, and won't there be expense incurred in relocating those portables? And is that part of budget already?
Yeah, there is some expense moving them. We have talked about it 2 or 3 times. Ms. Clardy's assured me it's doable. Gary, you want to address it?
There'll be, we've spoken with Mr. Tollett, and he said that he would try to accommodate any way he could so that to minimize, in other words, not to have to relocate those portables on site, a bunch of them, but he'll try to figure out some places to have some classes until we get his other classrooms in place.
So,
It'll be a struggle, but he'll manage to do it somehow.
so a preliminary plan is that what takes place in portables right now for second semester of this year would potentially take place in the building?
Yes, maybe in the gym, there's some different areas that he has discussed. Now, we will have to see, I know he's gained some students this year, so we will just have to see when we get ready, how many classrooms he'll have available and if there's any overflow. At that point, if there is, we'll have to make some arrangements.
That'll certainly be some growing pains, but it would be greatly appreciated if we don't have the expense of hooking those portables back up.
I think he's willing to work with us any way he can to do that.
Other discussion?
Well, just a comment, and I appreciate that effort, but, you know, we're putting AY in jeopardy for Eagle School. I know Mr. Gill, for several months there, so we need to keep that in mind when the scores come in, that some of this
Remember
will be
with them is,
self-inflicted.
even if we can't get it built in the summer, and if we started in the summer, we cut into the next school year 3, 4, 5 months, we're still gonna have to relocate portables, we're gonna have to makeshift classrooms. We're gonna get down to the nuts and bolts, and even though we've had some preliminary costs, we'll come back with a plan to show you that, I'm like Ms. Jernigan, I don't wanna jeopardize their academic successes, which they're doing well, aren't they, Mr. Odom? Yeah.
So
Tim?
that decision would have to be made when, and what would the cost be to move it from one side of the school to the other, rehook it up, if 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those had to be done?
Yes, that would come back to the board for approval.
Yeah, it costs us $8,000 to move a portable. I don't know if it's any cheaper to move it a short distance. They don't have a lot of places to relocate them though, do they?
Not really.
Yeah. We might can move as Ms. Tackett suggested, 3 or 4 if we had to, and the other 4 classes might meet inside, but we may have to, they do have 2 gyms. You know, we may have set up some classes in there temporarily. I mean, there's any number of things we've discussed, but I don't know that there's a solution short of beyond that.
There's also a possibility that maybe 3 of them could stay and not be.
Yeah.
Wayne?
And this continues in our mission for this board, as long as I've been watching this board and being on it, you know, getting children out of Portland. I mean, this board has really worked hard to try to do that, and I'm proud. I'm disappointed that we don't have the funds to go ahead and do the auditorium, but I'm pleased that we're gonna get new classrooms and new labs.
Okay, anything else? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's adopted. Anything else, Mr. Gill?
So,
I appreciate all the work you've done, and Mr. Clardy and Mr. Reed, well, everybody, really. I know this has been a team effort, and we had a couple bumps along the road, but we got a good conclusion. So thank you for that work.
Gary said that they'll probably be bush hogging out at Stewart Creek on Friday, so they'll be starting. That's exciting.
Good.
Got contracts written right here.
Yeah.
All right. We're adjourned.
You do all that?